Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here in my new capacity as an MEP for the East of England on this occasion. I'm deeply honoured to represent those good Eurosceptic people of East Anglia, along with Stuart Agnew. Now, this June we achieved a great result in the Euros, beating the Lib Dems and Labour with the 17% vote. And we've got a great, strong team of 13 MEPs over there now, fighting for Britain. The interesting thing is they wrote us off, didn't they? They thought we were a flash in the pan, UKIP. But we're not a flash in the pan. We're here to stay. And it's not just the Euros. In the local elections, as we just heard, we're getting some wonderful results, 20%, 30%. And we're winning county seats, district seats, like the 3 in East of England. And I have to say, Pete Reeve is rather greedy, isn't he? He didn't just win one seat, a county seat, he won a district one as well. Brilliant result, Pete. And we have representation across Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, so we are a UK-wide party. And we're laying a strong base for Westminster. And at Norwich North, we got the best ever by-election result for this party, 12%. And well done, Glenn Tingle, on that score. UKIP is now the alternative vote, not the Greens, UKIP. And we have to send that message across. And in short, under Nigel Farage, we have come of age. We're running at up to 8% in the national polls, some 3 to 4 times our usual standing. Last time the Tories blamed us for losing their seats, 27 seats. Well, that was with 2% nationally. What about 8% in the national polls? What will that do? And of course, Labour voters are looking to us as well. A Labour voter said to me in Norwich, he said, I've always been Labour, but with all the mess of these MP expenses, we've had to look elsewhere, and we're looking at you, UKIP. So UKIP could determine the result of the next general election. And people are looking at us differently. There's a new warmth, a new credibility. There's an appetite to hear what we stand for. And much of this is down to our leader, Nigel Farage. Nigel worked himself into the ground in this election. He's a great orator. I think he's the best in the business, and he's a brilliant media performer. And I say that Nigel is simply the most approachable, courageous and honest leader in British politics today. And the threat has never been greater with the Lisbon Treaty and the Irish referendum. Mr. Cameron, what on earth do you mean by we won't let it lie? The EU has a flag, a president, a parliament. It aspires to an EU army, EU embassies. The first experience I had as an MEP in Brussels, in Strasbourg, was to sit through the national anthem. We were asked in German to stand for the national anthem, Ode to Joy, the EU national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a very, very long way from a common market, aren't we? And the British people have never given permission for this EU superstate. Now, what are we going to do about it? Well, in the general election, we're going to have a full raft of policies. And there are 3 things, there are 3 freedoms that only UKIP can offer. The first is the freedom of action by leaving the EU. UKIP policies mean we will not have to implement the EU's 120,000 directives and regulations. We could scrap them all if we wished. We will not have to accept that 75% of our laws comes from the EU. We will not have to ask permission from Brussels to rescue our own post offices, our own car plants, and our own banks. Because with UKIP, we'll be running the country and not Brussels. The second freedom is that of resources, freedom of resources. Thanks to President-elect Tony Blair, next year we're going to be paying £6.4 billion a year just for membership, never mind the red tape. What could we do in Britain with those billions that are coming out of our taxes now that are going to the EU? Schools, hospitals, roads, railways, cuts in taxes even, could all come from that EU budget. And the third freedom is that of freedom of the people. If we're not ruled by this autocratic, undemocratic EU, we can give power back where it belongs to the local people. And we'll be free to think anew, to choose a new direction and a new vision for this country, an exciting, positive alternative. And we are the party of the Commonwealth, aren't we, in UKIP? Let's rebuild our links with the Commonwealth, because the Commonwealth is the future. India is going to be the second largest global economy in the future. It's not the past, it's the future. Our future in Britain is global, not regional. So, ladies and gentlemen, what makes us so relevant to voters in a general election, not a Euro election? What's our brand? What does it stand for? I reckon there are 5 core aspects to the UKIP brand, the 5 core beliefs. Firstly, we're a non-racist, patriotic party which puts the country's interests before those of the party's interests. That's why we use the Churchill image in this election, because he always put the country's interests first. We exist primarily to ensure our country can govern itself. We are patriotic, but we are not nationalistic. We love Europe, but we fear the EU political superstate. UKIP is the party that puts British interests first, whether on immigration, British jobs, the economy, or defence. UKIP is also the party of the Union. We have representation from all 4 nations. But we will ensure we treat the English fairly for a change. We will revisit the Barnett formula and review that. We will create an English Parliament, but only of English MPs, Westminster MPs, in Westminster. And we'll have a bank holiday on St. George's Day. What about that? So we'll celebrate England as well as Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. And on defence, when we're talking about patriotism, then when people say defence doesn't matter, Conservative, Labour, whatever it is, we believe defence is a key issue, because UKIP never forgets that the primary duty of government is the defence of the realm. And we will increase, not cut, defence spending by 40%. It's a huge commitment, but it's money well spent. And we think it's a total disgrace that this government has refused to invest in kit and equipment and has so badly let down our troops. And the second point is that UKIP tells the truth about issues and embarrasses the establishment. The political establishment, the lib-lab con, like to treat the British people like mushrooms, being kept in the dark and fed regularly with manure. Well, UKIP just says it as it is. We saw an interesting example just recently of the Video Regulations Act, 1994. The former Conservative government forgot to ask the European Commission for permission to apply this law to the UK back in '94. Now the Labour government have to rush through another bill, and guess what? They too have to ask permission from the European Commission to do so. Both Labour and Tory have to ask the European Commission for permission to introduce a law, a British-only law, through the British Parliament, applying only to Britain. Just who is running the country?